Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to break down how the world's top achievers are using artificial intelligence, not just to be more efficient, but to become dangerously smart. It's a really counterintuitive system that kind of flips the common approach on its head. Now, this might sound a little extreme, but it points to a huge mistake a lot of us are making. See, we're basically training AI to become our own replacement, outsourcing the very skills that make us valuable. But you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. And this slide, it just perfectly lays out the two paths, right? On the left, you've got what most people do. They just offload all their thinking to AI, which leads to dependency and, honestly, a decline in their own abilities. But on the right, that's the top 1% approach. They're using AI like a sparring partner, a tool to sharpen their own intellect and ask way better questions. So how do they actually do it? Well, it all comes down to this 4-step framework, and we're going to walk through every single step, revealing how you can shift from being a passive user to an active architect of your own intelligence. All right, let's get into our first step, and honestly, it's probably not what you're expecting. It's all about mastering the art of intelligent laziness. This is about being strategic with your effort and your attention. So what's really fascinating here is this thing called completion bias. It's basically a glitch in our brain's wiring. See, we get the same little dopamine hit from finishing a tiny, pointless task, like an internal email, as we do from something that's actually important. And this leads to what they call priority blindness, where everything feels urgent and nothing truly is. So to fight this, you gotta see your work as two totally different curves. Curve 1 tasks, these have capped payoffs. After a certain point, putting in more effort gives you zero extra value. This is your zone of intelligent laziness. But Curve 2 tasks? Oh man, they have uncapped payoffs. Being just 1% better in product design or finding a co-founder, that can change everything. That's your zone of obsession. So here's the crucial move. You use AI to just aggressively outsource all those Zone 1 tasks, and the drag framework shows you exactly how. You use AI for drafting to beat that scary blank page, for research to synthesize info in minutes, for analysis to spot patterns, and of course for all that grunt work like reformatting. This frees up all your mental energy for that second curve, your zone of obsession. Okay, so now we know what to delegate. Step 2 is all about how to delegate it, like really effectively. And this is what we call climbing the intelligent hill, and it requires a fundamental shift in how you and I think about AI. For like centuries, our tools have been like calculators. They're predictable, they're certain, you punch in 2 plus 2, you always get 4. No surprises. But here's the thing, AI is not a calculator. It's a probability engine. Think of it like a cloud of possibilities. It can be brilliant one second, totally confused the next, and yeah, it will happily just make stuff up. You can't command it, you gotta guide it. Climbing this intelligent hill means you gotta move through 4 levels of prompting. You start with one-shot prompting, like giving it one perfect email and saying, write another one just like this. Then you move to few-shot, giving it 3 or more examples to really lock in a pattern. The third level is chain of thought, where you literally tell it to think step by step before giving you an answer. And then at the very, very top, you've got agents, where you might say, you are an expert market researcher and a world-class copywriter. First, analyze this data, then write me an ad campaign based on your findings. All right, at this point, you're fast, you're efficient, you're prompting like a total pro. And honestly, most people stop right here. But the top 1%, they know that real long-term intelligence isn't built on just making things easy. It's built through resistance. So let's move to step 3, the intelligent gym. And this is the central question we all have to ask ourselves. Is AI a wheelchair, or is it a spotter for your mind? Think about it. Using AI as a wheelchair for your mind? Well, that means you're just outsourcing all your thinking. It's like being in zero gravity, right? No friction, no load. Your mental muscles just atrophy. But using it as a spotter is totally different. A spotter doesn't lift the weight for you. They add resistance and support, helping you lift heavier mental weights than you could on your own. This is where the real growth happens. So how do you actually do this in practice? You apply that gym principle of progressive overload. After you study a concept, you ask your AI spotter to quiz you. But you don't stop there. You keep escalating the difficulty, from high school level all the way to being challenged by an irate boss. This friction, that's what forges a deep, resilient understanding. Okay, so we've covered strategy, technique, and training. But this last step, this is the most critical one of all. It's an internal shift, a change in mindset. Welcome to step 4, the intelligent fool. This insight right here, it's everything.
True intelligence isn't about having all the answers, it's about being obsessed with what you don't know and having the humility to admit it.
Just take the real-world example of Microsoft. When Satya Nadella took over as CEO, he found a culture of know-it-alls, paralyzed by a fear of looking ignorant. He made one huge shift, transforming them into a culture of learn-it-alls, where saying, "I don't know," was suddenly a sign of strength, not weakness. And the result of that shift? The market cap just exploded. It grew 10 times, a tenfold increase, from $300 billion to over $3 trillion in a single decade. This wasn't just some feel-good corporate slogan. It was a strategic move that unlocked a massive amount of value by putting learning before ego. And neuroscience totally backs this up. This process called neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to literally rewire itself, it only kicks in when we're at the very edge of our ability. It happens when we're struggling, making mistakes, and feeling a little bit stupid. That discomfort, that's the signal that real learning is happening. And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. AI is the perfect training ground to become a student again, to ask the dumb questions without any fear of judgment. So the only question left is, will you have the courage to embrace that? To play the fool today so you can be the genius